we're here at the Nissan Murano with West Coast editor Mike Harley, and we're going to chat a little bit about this car. Mike, what do you think of the new Nissan Murano?
I've been a big fan of the Murano ever since day one. The car came out in like 2003, first generation, and now we're looking at the brand new 2015 third generation model, and it still follows the same exact format, which is front wheel drive or all-wheel drive, 3.6 liter V6. It's based on the Maxima, so I've always looked at it like driving like a tall Maxima. And I like it. I think they've done a really, really good job.
So it's pretty close to the concept, right? Like, I mean, they're taking something and making a pretty bold design out of this car.
Yeah, exactly. What they've done is the very first generation Murano came out, and it was unlike anything else the market had seen before. It had new, exciting styling while everything else was boring and bland. And the second generation was more of an evolution. They worked on the interior, but they didn't really do anything with the outside. This time they went back. Third generation said, we're going to make the outside bold, and we're going to really bring the interior upscale. And it's a good looker now once again. And the interior is almost like, I don't want to say Infinity-like, but it's really moved upscale.
So what do you like about the styling, or do you like the styling on this?
I like the front of it. I like these reverse boomerang headlights. I like the aggressive nose. It says it's got presence. I always say, does the car have presence? When it pulls up, do people turn around and look at it and go, hey, that's something interesting? Or has it just become completely invisible?
Right.
I like the hook on the back, the C-pillar. I like how they blacked it out. They've got this floating roof. It's not like the GTR with a blackened A-pillar, but it works really, really well in the Murano. It carries the design through from front to the back.
So
what I don't like,
yeah.
I don't like the wheels. These are the optional larger wheels. I don't like the black painted spokes. I think it's overdone, and I think it almost cheapens the overall look.
Right. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the interior. This one that we see on stage is all white.
I would, let's consider this a show interior. You and I both have kids. There is no way I'd ever order an interior with cream on cream on cream.
Right.
Looks good for the
cool.
Cameras, but after about a day and a half, 6 milkshakes and some soccer cleats, it's going to look really lousy. It has gone seriously upscale, though. The materials are nicer, better touch, better buttons. They've got their anti-gravity seats, whatever they call them, that feel good on the derriere.
Yeah. Have you test driven any of the anti-gravity seats?
Yeah, I've tried them on the Rogue.
Yeah.
Big improvement. Big improvement.
So what does it do for you?
In theory, I guess light around the pressure points of your tail.
Oh, gotcha.
To put it nicely.
Okay. So who do you see as the customer for this car?
I would say probably an empty nester. It's an interesting car where it fits. It's almost like the Pathfinder family that the kids have gone away now, and they want something upscale, sportier, a little smaller than a Pathfinder. This is a 5-seater. It's a really upscale Nissan, and it's nice.
Are you looking forward to test driving it?
I'm very much looking forward to test driving it. The nice thing about the Murano is the 3.0 V6 has got some spunk. It's got a CVT, which typically I'm not a huge CVT fan, but because the engine's got low-end torque, it gets off the line, and Nissan's done a whole bunch of work on this one. I believe the fuel economy's improved by almost double digits, almost 10% fuel economy. So we're talking 4 miles per gallon on the open road, which means you get out there, it's got more pickup, more pep, it's lighter now, and it's a win-win across the board.
So the Ford Edge is a competitor, but Ford has got those issues with the Ford Sync and My Ford Touch and all of those things that, it's really hitting their quality story. And, Nissan might have an advantage here in that they don't have all of that negative news coming along with them.
That is totally correct. Yeah. And, I think between the Edge and the Murano, I would probably say the Murano's a little more upscale, a little more mature, more of an empty nester, and the Edge is probably a little family friendlier. Remember, Nissan also has the Pathfinder, they've got the Rogue, they've got a lot of family-oriented vehicles, which allows them to take the Murano and move it upscale.
Right. So is there anything you are anticipating that you might not like when you drive it?
As I've said before, I've never been a huge fan of a continuously variable transmission. They're all over the place. They've got this unlimited ratios, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work. In the past, I've liked them with the Murano, but then again, they've recalibrated the transmission for fuel economy, and that to me says it's going to have slower RPM on the highway, which could be a little more sluggish. We'll see. And the other thing is the styling sometimes affects outward visibility. The designers work so hard to make these things look cool, they forget the fact that you got to put someone behind the driving wheel. It's got to look over their shoulder and can't see out the C-pillars.
Right.
We've seen cars like that in the past. So you got to get behind the wheel, see how the changes. Improves fuel economy, does it affect drivability?
Right.
Improves styling, does it affect visibility? and it's a hit or miss. And very few automakers are able to nail the complete package.
How important is it to them?
It's a high volume car for them. It's very important for them. And it's a very visible car for them as well. And the car is now for the first time being built in the United States. Every other generation has been built in Japan. This is the first time the Murano is going to be built in the United States and exported around the world.
Americans like American-built cars.
So this is now an American car.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.